I don't have any form of identification, no driver's license, no ID, nothing like that.
I have no clue what happened to Titus. He took off somewhere out there.
I wake up in the morning and there's a green hill on that side, and a green hill on that side, and I just have my own little peaceful valley here.
Amish friend.
We can accept and still go on with what we've got.
This is your whole dishwashing apparatus? I think that's the beauty. We can hang out today. We don't have to believe in exactly the same thing, and we can have an awesome time. This is your McDonald's drive-up window?
Yep. Hello.
Hello, Titus.
Hey.
You ever had a cell phone?
Never did.
Do you feel like you're missing out on anything right now? That's like childhood.
I think I may go like into that tree.
Okay.
And then see if I can bend it to this one and get to this one and then come over to that one.
Okay.
And then come on down.
You've done this a few times, Titus?
Oh yeah. We didn't have TV growing up, so this is what we did for, you know, our spare time. And I still do it for fun. I'm gonna see if I can make it to this other tree here.
Jeez.
Trying to get to this other tree. I think I'm gonna ride this one down.
Titus, I think you got some stories.
Yeah.
How long have you been out here?
I've been on this farm. This would be the eighth summer.
Did you grow up like this?
Well, we did grow up growing our own firewood or cutting our own firewood. We never had like electric heat or anything. But like my parents have computers, electricity, that kind of things. And I just felt like God was calling me to live a more simple life, more at peace and more with nature. So I don't have like electricity or running water. I do have running water if I put it in a bucket and run with it, and it runs through the creek too.
How much land are you living on here?
I've got 50 acres. About 20 is open, like pasture or garden land.
Okay.
And about 30 is woods. Y'all can come inside. Like I'm single and I'm busy working outside, and so it's real disorganized.
You're a bachelor.
Yeah, definitely. And my
Okay.
buddy is staying with me too, and he's got some of his stuff stored here.
Okay.
He's
So you do a lot of canning of things?
I do some canning, yeah. This is the wood cook stove here, which during the summertime I'm not using it since it would get too hot in here.
So you have no electricity in here?
No, which it is wired for, like the electric was on when I bought it, but I've been here, this is the 8th summer, and I've not had any electricity here.
So why do you choose for no electricity?
Well, it gives me like a freedom to not have to be down to a grind of like a 9-to-5 job. I don't have an internet bill. I don't have all these bills, you know, associated with that, with electricity. And so I can just work a small amount, whatever I want to work, and then I have enough money to live.
Okay, what are you doing for work?
I train horses and shoe horses.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So what do you think your expenditures are? How much money do you think you have to spend a month?
I guess probably my two main bills would be like dog food and like my phone bill. I've got a landline phone.
Landline, no cell phone.
Yeah, no cell phone.
Okay.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like I didn't want the internet, but they wouldn't give me a phone without the internet. So I'm paying for internet, but I don't get it. So I have a landline phone, and that's like $90 a month. And then dog food, I probably spend like $20 a month on dog food or something. Things like salt, fruit, and things like that, probably spend like $30 a month on that, probably.
So 90, 20, and 30.
Yeah.
So 140 a month is your expenditures.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I always dreamed of having my own farm, my own land, and the dream finally came true.
You love it?
I do. I wake up in the morning and there's a green hill on that side and a green hill on that side, and I just have my own little peaceful valley here.
So no car.
Nope.
You get around with carriage.
Yep.
So you're almost living an Amish lifestyle.
Yeah, pretty much. Yep.
But you're not at all.
No, I'm not a member, no. I'm not a member of the Amish church, but I pretty well live the lifestyle. Want some banana peels? Nothing goes to waste. This is Greatheart.
Greatheart.
Yes, that's his name.
That looks bad, Titus. Putting that in the barn. Like, you don't seem like you're unhappy. So
No, I sometimes take up hay, bales of hay up in here, and I'll loop this around and snap it. But this is the way that I get up into my barn loft to get hay.
Titus, let me give you this and
Okay.
show what's up there.
All right. Wait, here we go. Got it. Am I holding it right?
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. Yeah, I got some hay up here, first cutting of hay.
You were telling me off camera you sleep up there on summer nights, right?
Yeah, sometimes it gets really hot in the trailer, and so I'll come up here in the hay, and it's like there's Peter down there. My friend Isaac was staying with me, and he was sleeping up here in the barn, and he said this hay sleeping on these hay bales, it's an eco-friendly, green, biodegradable mattress. And it smells good to top it off. Go out to the front and I'll show you the funnest way to get out of the barn.
All right. Titus, you're a character. All right, what's Titus got for us here? You gonna jump out of there?
I'll show you the funnest way to get out of the barn. There's some potatoes.
Oh, nice.
These are organic potatoes.
Okay, so you don't use any chemicals, huh?
Nope. I just spread manure from the horses here and then plowed it under and then waited a while and then planted the potatoes.
So you're getting zero processed foods, huh?
I was like 13, 14 years old, and I was over at a neighbor's house shoeing some horses, and they said, "Hey, you want a pop?" I said, or they asked me, "Do you like pop?" I said, I've never had it." They're like, "What? You've never had pop?" I said, "No." They said, "Well, you want to try it?" And I said, "Sure." So I tried one, and that was enough for the rest of my life. I didn't like it.
It was what, one Coca-Cola?
It was like a Orange Crush.
You hated it.
It just, and that my dad, he helped build a plant where they produce the Coca-Cola, and he said if they had a spill, it would etch the concrete. It just eat away at the finish on the concrete. So if it does that concrete, what is it going to do to your bones? It's kind of like golfing, except for you hit the ball every time. I'm gonna grab a few.
So this is for supper.
Yes. Yep.
Titus, I know there are a lot of ticks out here, but you don't worry about them at all, huh?
I just pick them off if they get on me. Here's some purple onions. We're going to cook those.
This is your whole dishwashing apparatus?
Yeah, I wash produce and dishes down here.
So you set this little barrier up here just to let the right amount of water in, huh?
Yeah, my buddy Isaac did. I usually take a bath up in there.
You take a bath up there?
Yep.
And so that acts a little bit like a filter, huh?
Yeah, it's got some sand and gravel and stuff, yeah.
So having this behind your house is key, huh?
Oh yeah, yeah.
You gotta have this for this lifestyle, huh?
Having plenty of water, yeah, I don't have to have electricity to pump it, it's just right here.
Do you ever get sick with anything?
I've gotten colds, I've gotten flus. Like the past year, I've not been sick at all. Like not even a cold, not even a stuffy nose, nothing. My thought is, eat lots of healthy food, breathe deep of fresh air, trust in God, get your exercise, and do things that strengthen your immune system, so then your immune system is strong enough that it can just fight off whatever virus is out there.
Is this one of your classic meals?
Yeah, that's red potatoes, purple onions, and then kale. And then I'll put a little bit of pink Himalayan salt in there, and we'll put some water in there, and then we'll put it on the stove and let it cook. And then later today, Peter and I will come and have a feast.
Yeah, Titus. And it's got the Titus touch from the source.
We'll put a little bit more wood in here to some of this cedar that we cut earlier.
How far away are your parents?
My parents about 8 miles from here.
Okay.
Yep,
And you like going over there to visit?
I do. This is Truth here. She's being affectionate.
So when you go to your parents, do you love the conveniences? Because they have electricity and everything, right?
Yeah,
Is there a temptation in that?
no, I don't really, like, I enjoy being there and enjoy, you know, hanging out with my parents, but as far as the electricity or whatever, I don't really miss it. I guess probably the only thing that I miss is like living without electricity is a refrigerator. A refrigerator is just so handy. But I can put stuff in the creek and it'll keep overnight. Like if I have beans left over or something, I can put them in a pot in the creek and they'll stay good overnight. Of course, during the winter time, I've got a room in the back that I keep. I just keep the door shut so the heat doesn't go in there, and that's basically like a refrigerator during the winter time. No GMO, no herbicides, no pesticides, all organic.
No Monsanto out here?
No Monsanto, not for me. There are neighbors that are a few miles away that have Roundup Ready corn and soybeans. From what I've heard, they have developed a seed and they spliced a gene into it to where it terminates, so it's just good for one season.
Why? So you have to buy more, or how does that work?
Yeah, so you're dependent upon them. If you plant this stuff out in your soil, if you were to spray it with Roundup, it'd kill it. But the Monsanto seed, they've got corn and soybeans that are Roundup ready, so you can plant them in your field, and then you can spray a herbicide, and that kills all the weeds, but it won't hurt your corn.
So that's just easier to farm. Then with your garden, you have to pull the weeds, or what?
Yeah, pull weeds or hoe them, or like that cultivator that the horses pull. You take that through your rows, and it kills the weeds when they're really small. Kind of a peaceful sound.
It is. I like it. It's sort of therapeutic, huh?
Yeah,
it is. It's like raking sand or something.
Yeah. Whoop. Ooh. Back. If I'm at peace and I'm right with God, I have His peace in my heart, then the horses are going to have it too.
They feel your energy completely.
Definitely. It's just like attitude. I mean, when you're around somebody, there's some people that are like cheerful, they're positive, and you feel like, oh, I want to spend time with that guy, or I want to spend time with that person. And there's other people that they're really negative, and you think, man, let's get out of here. Like, you know, I want to be polite, but I'd rather not spend a lot of time with, you know. And I believe animals are the same. If you have God's peace in your heart and you're calm, then the animals will want to be in your presence. They'll want to be with you. You can ride shotgun.
So where are we going, Titus?
We are going to go to a, yeah, that's broken. That's sturdy there.
Okay.
Friend of mine, Amish friend of mine that makes harness and
Amish friend.
Reuben Schroyer, he lost his hand in a sawmill accident.
Oh.
But it's amazing the workmanship that he can do with one good hand and a hook in the other.
Your dog's coming too?
Yeah, the old one there, Spartacus, he's kind of slow and getting old. He may not go the whole way, but Sadie there, she'll run along.
Oh, that's nice. Nice little breeze. Huh?
It feels
How good does that feel?
It feels good.
And do the horses like doing this, do you think?
They like working. You know, there's times when we may feel like just laying in bed all day or, you know, like not doing anything, but once you accomplish some useful work, there's a sense of satisfaction that you think, wow, a job well done, you know. I think it's the same way with the horse. They plow that field there and we plant corn, and then later they get to eat it when the snow flies. Or it's hot and sweaty and they're mowing hay. That's hard work, but when the snow flies, they've got something yummy to munch on in the barn.
Do you have a girlfriend?
No, I'm single.
Do you want a girlfriend?
I do. Yeah.
You do? It's gonna have to be the right woman that's gonna love this lifestyle, right?
Definitely.
Because you're not moving to Atlanta, are you?
No, no. I don't like being in cities. Like there's been times when God told me to go preach in a city, and I've gone for that. But as soon as I can get out of there, I'm out.
He likes you, huh, Titus?
Yeah.
Beautiful countryside out here.
It is.
So do you feel like you're missing out on anything right now, living
No.
out here? Is there any like one little thing that you're like,
No, I feel like the people that are in the city are definitely missing out. They're missing out on the peace and the fresh air here.
I mean, it does look like a romantic lifestyle in the sense that you're living very simply and you're connected with nature. But to do it, most people can't hack it out. I wouldn't be able to hack it out. I mean, if I had to, I would. I could. But you gotta work.
Yeah, but you have to work either way. Because if you have all the modern conveniences, then you have to work, most people have to work a set amount of hours to be able to make sure they have enough money to pay all those bills.
Yeah.
And they're working that most of the time away from home. Or they're at a desk like this, and then later they're getting back problems, you know. So, like you're gonna work either way, but I'm gonna work at home. You know, yeah, it takes me longer to wash my laundry, or it takes me longer to wash my dishes, or, you know, it takes me longer to do some of the things that need to be done, but I'm working at home in a peaceful environment where I want to be.
You want to raise kids out here?
Yes. I think the only thing I'm missing, really, is someone to share this life with me, and children to enjoy it.
Maybe there's a fine woman out there in the audience that wants to meet up with Titus one day.
I don't know.
How do people get in touch with you? Or you don't want to give all that information out?
You can put my phone and address on there if you want.
I'll not do all address, but I would do phone.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
All right.
But if somebody calls, I have to leave a message because it's a landline phone.
Sure.
And so I'm not there at the phone very much. I have my phone in a little shed by the house, and then I've got an Amish neighbor that helps me pay the bill, and we both use the phone.
Your Amish neighbor uses the phone?
Yes.
The same number?
Yes. Mm-hmm. So you just leave a message and I call you back. Yep. This is a Mennonite family.
So they have power?
They do, yes. Little fella mowing the lawn.
You know these guys?
Yeah. Oh. Oh. Oh.
Oh, beautiful. What do you learn from animals?
Well, I can answer that question with a story. So, when I got Great Heart back in like 2012, and so like he had never plowed before, and I was just learning to plow. So I wasn't good at it, the horses weren't good at it, and in order to plow you need to stay really straight. And one horse has to walk down in the furrow and the other horse has to walk up on the land.
Sure.
So as I was plowing, they were getting the horse that was, I had stand fast down in the furrow. He kept on getting out and kept on like going crooked. And I was getting so frustrated and so angry. And I was trying to make them walk straight, but they wouldn't walk straight.
Okay.
And so I was all by myself. And so I started yelling and screaming at them and just like whipping them, just without mercy. And then I felt the Holy Spirit speaking to me and say, Titus, the way that if you were married, you would be treating your wife and children this way.
Oh.
And I said, oh, please forgive me, Father in heaven, please forgive me. And then I felt God telling me, Titus, you get out of line. You don't always walk the way that you're supposed to walk. How do you think that it makes me feel when you are not walking in the right path that you're supposed to walk in? And I said, yeah, wow, that's right. So I asked God, please forgive me. And then I went to my horses and I asked them to forgive me. So horses have taught me a lot of patience. You know, you can't expect them to always do exactly what you tell them to do because maybe they don't understand. They've not done it before. Maybe they don't understand exactly what you want them to do. So you learn to be patient. You learn to take your time to teach them. And then if you're willing to put that time and that patience in, then they're willing to just serve you with their whole heart.
When you say God, you get a message from God. Walk me through that. What does that you mean? You actually hear something, it just naturally happens through your body. What do you mean by that?
Well, like when I was saying I felt God speaking to me or the Holy Spirit speaking to me, I didn't hear like an audible voice, but it's this very strong thought in my mind.
Okay.
That I know that it's not just my own thought. Because naturally in that situation I was heated up and I was angry. And all my thoughts were just frustration of how I couldn't get this job done.
Yeah.
And then there's this calm thought that comes from God, reasoning with me, saying, Titus, you know, you're being unreasonable with your horses. You need to take a step back.
So I know the answer already, but spirituality is super important for your life, right?
Definitely.
Like you wouldn't be able to do this without it?
I wouldn't be at peace. Like I would be afraid. I would be afraid that some natural disaster is going to come and a drought's going to come, or you know, some country's going to attack, or those things could happen. But I'm at peace now, knowing that I have a Father in heaven that cares about me, and that He's going to provide what I need.
So what's going on in society? You're not really tuning into it at all, or are you?
I hear people talk about like the war between Russia and Ukraine, Russia taking over Ukraine, things. I hear people talk about it, and I am interested to know what's going on around me. But there comes a point where you hear all this negative information, and you can do nothing at all to stop it. So why constantly feed yourself the negative? You know, negative information is kind of like a junk food diet. If you're constantly giving yourself negative, it'll wear you down. It'll make you sick mentally, emotionally. It'll make you sick. But there's so much positive. See this green that God made, this cool breeze that God made that's coming in. You know, the food that He gives us that's healthy, nutritious, this clean air that we breathe. There's so much positive that we can think about if we'll thank God for what He has given us. It'll change our mental outlook to where we're thinking positive. And then if we are healthy emotionally and mentally, it will also help us to be physically healthy as well.
You feel the connection.
Right. You know, we could worry about things we can't control. We could worry about China taking over the United States. We could worry about Russia taking over the United States. That could happen. The Bible says that the borrower is servant to the lender. So we've borrowed from China, and if we borrow enough, one day we'll be China's servant. That could happen, but why should I worry about that when that's out of my control? Just trust God one day at a time, thank Him for what He has given me, and just live life. This is one of my favorite places to ride or drive my horse, because there's like all these big trees. It's been a long time since they've logged this, so this really big trees, and then there's always a really cool breeze coming down. And then there's a spring, there's like spring water that comes down. And sometimes I'll stop my horse and just take a drink right along here on this.
So a hot
water.
day like this, it sort of drops roughly 5-10 degrees. Huh?
Yeah, probably. Maybe more than that, maybe more like 15 degrees. This is Ruben Troyer. He does like custom saddles and leather work. He's a skilled craftsman. We're training horses.
Training Tituses. This is one of your good friends, right?
Yep.
And you're Schwarzentruber Amish.
Yep.
And that's the reason your face is blurred out, because not supposed to show, but you had a story about your arm here and how you're working with it.
Yes, I have. I guess I've been very blessed with what I still have
And how long have you had that?
since 1997. I've lived longer with this than I have had with my hand. And accepting that the Lord has all controls was the biggest lesson.
Okay.
Just literally accepting that we don't have any control of what happens. We can accept and still go on with what we've got.
So you've been able to do all your farming work, and you have a saddle shop here, right? You
Yes.
make saddles?
Yes, saddle shop, and I do some metal work as well. We're overloaded, extremely busy. If I could find the right person that had the capability of doing the fine work that we do, I would probably hire him right on the spot.
It's hard to find workers right now,
Yes,
Out
it
here?
is. Sometimes you wonder.
if we have leadership.
Yeah. Sometimes it appears like we have none.
And you Amish out here, though, you're completely self-sufficient for the most part.
For the most part, yeah.
So what's going on with the government doesn't really bother you so much directly, or does it?
Not necessarily, no.
At this point, anyway. It's
Right.
not,
Yeah, I could see a point coming where it will. If things keep going with the government as they are, eventually there's going to be a point where the Amish or plain people or whoever wants to stay faithful in their Christianity is going to be probably harshly tested.
You think Christianity is under threat?
As of today, not really, maybe.
Okay.
But eventually, I could see it coming where it will be. With this COVID coming in, it was wanting to be, but they kind of backed off, not being a threat anymore.
I think we have the example of history, like in Romania or China, a person could have a Bible, they could go to church, all that. But then when communism came over, it was a crime to have a Bible. It was a crime to preach in the open. It was a crime to meet together for church. The government felt like, Christians, their allegiance was to God first and foremost, and the communists wanted their allegiance to be only to the government. And so, we see socialism coming into America, and socialism becomes communism.
You feel that more socialism coming in?
Yes, there is.
You're not watching TV, right?
No.
Okay, so how
And
do you?
Thankfully not.
Yes.
So how do you feel it then? Like if you just hear it with the stories you tell with your friends, or
and you can tell by the mentality of the people. Since this COVID moved in, everybody just gets up tense and aggravated, and just kind of nasty attitude to deal with.
you notice that even out in the countryside
Oh
here.
yes, oh yes. Everybody gets a little stress from it.
still, even though it's sort of
Well,
in our
not
rear.
as much anymore, but there's still, it has happened and it's in the back of your mind. You still know that eventually something different's going to come in the same manner. Yeah, you can hear that blade that's still loose.
So all your kids know how to do this.
He's just started. He's pretty proud of what he's able to do.
Does it make you feel proud to see him do that
Well,
as a father?
yeah, I'm happy that he's able to, but yet there's been so many accidents with those mowers. You're still on the edge. If you hear something or, this or that, you're like, what is he doing now?
Right.
Did he get hurt or so? But it's kind of a thing to where you kind of drill safety and then you kind of have to loosen the reins a little bit and kind of let them try it out and figure it out.
This is all your whole family making these,
Family business, yes.
and all your employees are behind me. I'm not going to turn the camera, but they're making all of these.
Yes.
And why are the Amish so good at craftsmanship and quality?
I would say that part of it is early exposure, mentality focus.
That's how you were raised, right?
Yes.
Okay. And so you raise your kids the same.
Yeah.
It says handcrafted by Troyer Custom Saddles.
You made this for who?
My youngest boy.
Oh, wow. He must have been so happy. And your right arm, you figured out how to work with that, no problem, huh?
Oh, we have a few little issues, but nothing major.
There were some battles with it.
I did. I struggled with my own mentality with that.
But you wouldn't be doing all this today if you had stayed in that mindset.
Oh, no. No.
I had broken both my feet, and the doctors really didn't give me any hope. They said that I would probably have a limp for the rest of my life and that I would have back trouble and hip trouble.
Okay.
And so I got really, really depressed. It was like I wanted to work, I wanted to be productive, but if I would work and be productive, there would be too much pain and then I wouldn't have energy.
Yeah.
And so I really, really struggled with that. I'm like 21 years old, but I'm walking like I'm a 90-year-old man. Like I almost need a walker. It just hurts so bad, and the doctors have given me no hope of really improvement. And I just felt like I can't keep living and go on this way. And so I planned to ride my horse up to an area here called Green River Knob where there's a cliff, and I was planning to just ride him up there, say my goodbye to my horse, and just jump off the cliff.
Really?
And then I wouldn't have to deal with the pain and just all that. And I wasn't planning to tell anybody what was going on. I didn't tell anybody what I was going through. That was what I was planning to do. And then if it hadn't been for Jesus' intervention in my life and him speaking to me in my mind, I would have just done it. One of the things that God spoke in my mind was, Titus, if you would do that, it would hurt your mother so much. And that changed the focus from me thinking about, oh, life is too hard for me to go on, to, how would this decision hurt somebody else? And so it changed my focus. And and then I prayed and I was begging God, please show me, am I going to be healed to where I can work and be functional or not? Because I need to know. And the Lord told me, you will be healed. So today, there are times when I struggle with some pain in my right foot.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I don't have any pain. For the most part, it doesn't bother me. I'm able to work hard or able to go. So that was really a struggle that I went through. And to the viewers that are watching this, if you're thinking about ending your life, don't do it.
Yeah.
There's something better. There's hope. Go to your Father in heaven in prayer, and Jesus will make a way for you to go on.
Yeah.
Full. Easy.
Old Order Amish or Schwarzenegger?
That's Mennonite.
How do you know?
By the design of the buggy. The Mennonites have like a square box,
Okay.
and they have rubber tires, and they have a orange triangle on the back.
Amish won't do the orange triangle?
No. And the Amish buggies, their box is built at the bottoms. It goes like this at the bottom,
Yep.
and they'll have steel wheels. So if that was an Amish buggy, it would be louder.
I had no idea Kentucky was so beautiful, to be honest. I came from eastern Kentucky, Harlan County, with some coal miners. That's like really deep Appalachia. And then down here is more rolling hills. We're sort of like on the edge of Appalachia, right?
Yes.
Totally different feel, but equally beautiful in its own right.
Spider just caught a fly. That's one less fly to persecute my horses.
You're in alliance with the spiders.
Yes.
You guys team up?
Yes.
Or they help you out?
They're definitely my friends. This is one of the Amish schoolhouses.
And so Reuben's kids go here?
Yes. There's about 12 children that go to this school.
12 kids, all ages, right?
Yes, yeah. And they have grades 1 through 8.
And this is the parking at an Amish schoolhouse.
Oh, yes. During rainy weather and things, they'll tie a horse up in there. They're storing some firewood there in the one stall, but oftentimes they walk when the weather's good. That's like a 3-mile walk. 6 miles a day.
3 miles.
And a big hill, too.
Wow.
Yep.
So they legitimately can say I walked
Yeah.
to school, uphill 3 miles.
Yeah.
Guys, it's quite surreal out here. Such beautiful country in Kentucky. So peaceful, so removed, so wholesome. I get it, Titus. I'm not saying I can live it, but I respect it and admire it. It's definitely a more pure lifestyle than most of us live.
I'm really blessed to be able to live here. Really am. Back. This is Standfast, and he helps me to be an amateur gymnast, and I have a lot of fun with him. So I'll show you the funnest way to mount a horse. Whoa. Whoa. Oh. Oh.
Smooth.
Yeah. And then I'll show you, like, for me, this is the funnest way to dismount.
So she just cools herself down, huh? My wife will love this. What's up? You're so sweet.
Along life's pathway, dark despair, our broken hearted, bowed down with care. I met a Savior, and I knew him there, and he filled that longing down in my soul. I searched for him, but I knew not what I longed for. I longed for him, but I knew not what I longed for, till I met Jesus. I knew that I would search no more. He filled that longing down in my soul. This is milkweed right here. I'm trying to let it grow up wherever I can, because the monarch butterfly, it's like one of the only plants that the monarch butterfly will feed on.
Mm-hmm.
And the monarch butterfly is going extinct. Like, I remember when I was little, we saw monarchs all over the place. Every summer I remember seeing monarchs, and now
they're going extinct, so I'm trying to leave these to let them, give them some food and flowers.
Homemade scarecrow?
Yeah.
Does this work?
I tried it. I had a straw hat on this one and it worked for about a half day because the crows recognized me with a straw hat. So they stayed away for about a half day. The other one, I had a black felt hat on that one, and I only wear the felt hat in the wintertime, and they're not around much in the wintertime. So that one didn't work at all. And this worked for a half day. The crows, they want to come to non-GMO organic corn. And when it's about this tall, they'll come and they'll pull it out, and then they'll eat that soft sprouted kernel.
Is that a tick?
Yes, that's a tick. That is a tick.
So those are the little Lyme's disease factories, huh?
My understanding is that there's a tick that has a dot on the back, and the ones that has a dot on the back are the ones that carry Lyme's disease, and the other ticks don't. So this one doesn't have the dot on its back. We have a kind of like a drive-through fast food right here.
Drive-through fast food. This is your McDonald's drive-up window?
Yep. You just drive by, grab it, and go. So I don't have any form of identification, like no driver's license, no ID, nothing like that. And then God called me to go preach in Nashville, Tennessee. And I was like, okay, Father in heaven, if you want me to go, you'll provide the transportation. So I started walking from here, and like from here to Nashville, if you get a straight ride there, it's like about 3 hours.
Okay.
And I had 7 different rides, and I got there in like 3.5 hours.
Just putting the thumb out.
Yeah. Yeah.
So hitchhiking is still alive for you?
Definitely.
Not a problem.
One time I was going to Tennessee,
Yeah.
and a state trooper stopped, and he asked me questions, and I told him where I'm going and everything. And he's like, so, do you have any dangerous or concealed weapons on you? And I was like, I have a pocket knife, does that count? He's like, no, that doesn't count. He's like, get in. And I was sitting there and I was like, oh no, like, where are we going? Like, he didn't tell me what's happening, you know, so I'm riding along, and then he got on his radio, and I was like, what's going on? And so then he's like, well, I patrol about a 10-mile range here. He said, I'm taking you as far as my range is, but I radioed ahead to tell my buddies that if they see you walking or whatever, pick you up and give you a ride. And I was like, oh, thank you, Mr. Officer. So then he drops me off at this exit, and I was standing on the ramp, you know, praying for a ride. And then this city police shows up, and he's like, are you hitchhiking? He said, hitchhiking is illegal in the state of Kentucky. And I thought, oh no, if I say no, then that's kind of like a lie. If I say no, I'm not hitchhiking. But if I say yes, then I'm incriminating myself. So like the Holy Spirit gave me like an answer right that I needed. I said, well, officer, I am prepared to walk and I'm prepared to ride. So he asked me the same question twice, and I give him the same answer. And he looked me up and down, and he's like, well, I could take you in. He said, but you look like you're okay. You have to stay on the state highways. So I was like, okay. But I didn't know my way. I was like, please, Father in heaven, give me a ride soon. And so that I got a ride real quick, and I was gone out of there.
Do you hitchhike with bare feet?
In the summertime, yes. But not in the wintertime. It's not healthy to go barefoot in the wintertime.
No driver's license, no identification. What about Social Security card?
I don't have one. No. My parents did establish a Social Security number for me, and the card said not valid unless signed. So I never signed it. And then I studied the issue, and I decided to revoke my Social Security number.
So in a way, you don't exist.
Yeah. And I had a birth certificate, but there was a flood and it washed away. So I don't have that either. I don't exist in the eyes of the government, but I do exist in the lives of people that know me and my Father in heaven.
I have no clue what happened to Titus. He took off somewhere out there, but I know I can call him, so let me just give it a shot here. Oh.
Hello.
Hello, Titus.
Hey. Hello, Peter.
This is the office.
Yes.
So this is where you take all the landline calls.
Yes. Yeah, that's it.
So you got to come out of the house if someone calls.
Yep.
So why do you have the phone out of the house? You don't want the distraction?
Yeah, like if I'm studying my Bible or something, I don't want to be interrupted. I come out here to check messages, and when it's convenient for me on my schedule, I come, and then I'm gone.
This is how you get your water?
Yes, I've got a little gutter on the back of this shed here, and it just fills up this rain barrel, and then I just dip it out.
No filter?
No. This is Jerusalem artichokes. Some people call them fartichokes because you have a lot of gas when you eat them. I've got corn and pumpkin and beans, and you can see the beans are climbing up the corn there. The Indians called corn, beans, and squash the three sisters because they grow really peacefully. They grow really well together. Corn needs a lot of nitrogen, and so the beans take nitrogen out of the air and fix it into the soil where the corn can get it. The beans need something to climb on to keep them off the ground, so the corn provides support for the beans. And then your pumpkins or squash or melons, they vine out through there and they will shade the soil, and that will help to conserve moisture and suppress the weeds. So they're like three sisters that live well together. Here's my beehive.
So these bees here make your food way better.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
So that's key, huh, to the production here?
Yeah, definitely better pollination.
Do you ever read, Titus?
Yes, I like to read my Bible, and I like to read history.
What historical period or what interests you?
I'm very interested to read like the history of Cuba and Europe, and how at one time they had freedom and how one time they prospered, and then how socialism and communism took over, and then how they lost their freedom. Yeah, I was reading an interesting story about a man in Romania that risked his life to smuggle Bibles in. And I also like to read like biographies, people writing their experience, how they grew up, or their stories. I read a book recently about a man that was in the genocide in Rwanda between the Hutus and the Tutsis, and how they grabbed him and they were going to put him to death, and they're like, dig your grave. So he was digging his own grave. And then he said, before I dig my own grave, can I preach to you? And one of them said, no, you can't preach. And the other leader said, yeah, go ahead, preach us a sermon before you die. And then as he was preaching, like he felt the Holy Spirit come on him. And then eventually they just let him go. They said, you leave, you go. So that's amazing. Like he wrote his whole story, just fascinating. Those who do not learn from the mistakes of history are doomed to repeat them.
Whose famous quote is that?
That's a good question. I don't know. Do you know, Peter?
No, I forget who said that.
Definitely true. Well, why don't we pause a minute and thank our Creator?
Okay.
Father, we wanted to tell you that we're so grateful that you provided this food that's so fresh and good. We ask that you would bless it and you guide us in our thoughts and our words, our conversations. We ask that you would be here too with us. We thank you, and we're asking in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
All right.
I don't think I've had greens to plate so quickly. Maybe in my life, Titus. Oh yeah.
It's a short distance from that garden to here.
Your kale has such a short commute.
Yeah.
And you don't eat meat at all, right?
Nope.
Eggs or animal products?
Just a plant-based diet. One of the reasons is because when God made Adam and Eve, he put them on a plant-based diet. So, like, clean meats are allowed, but it wasn't God's original intention. And another reason why is because it makes sense from a standpoint as for like being able to supply the world with food. So
So if we took, say, a cow, feed it 10 pounds of grain, then when we would butcher it, we would get 1 pound of meat back. So obviously, if you compared the calories value, food value between 1 pound of meat, 1 pound of grain, calorie value per pound would be a lot higher with the meat. But if you have 1 pound of meat over here and you have 10 pounds of grain over here, the calories in the grain is a lot higher than in the meat over here. And Albert Einstein said that, I'm not quoting it exactly, but the idea that he said was, if everyone would go on a plant-based diet, that would save the world's starvation problem. What people put in their body is their choice, and it's not up to me to take that choice away from them.
Right.
I can just tell people how good I feel on a plant-based diet, and like you saw
Right.
me climbing up the rope and climbing trees and everything. You know, it definitely.
No, keep doing what you're doing. It's working. For
It definitely
sure,
works.
Yeah.
And like growing up, I never had soda pop, never ate any eggs, never drank any milk.
You grew up in a very religious home, right? So you've just kept it going.
No.
You didn't phase out of it like a lot of kids do. I grew up going to church, but I don't go to church anymore.
You know, if you mean by religious, like lots of forms and lots of ceremonies,
Yeah.
that's not really me. But as far as like reading my Bible, going to the Bible for looking for advice or for wisdom, that's definitely me. Going to God in prayer, asking Him to help me, giving me wisdom, it's definitely a daily thing.
So wouldn't you say that the Bible makes life easy in the sense that it's just basically a guidebook of how to live? It's sort of like an instruction manual.
Definitely.
And here's what to do and here's what not to do. If you're someone like me, who I respect the Bible, its teachings are amazing. Culture in general lives off many of the principles of the Bible. Even if someone's not religious, they're living off the 10 Commandments, basically. Right? You're not supposed to steal, do one to others that you want done to you. Basic tenets of society. You have it easy in the sense that that's your guidebook. I don't follow it word for word. So a lot of my compass is internal through my experience, and there's some trial and error. I mean, at this age, a lot of things are sort of baked in, right? Sort of grounded. But I do always want to be able to question things and explore things and be creative. So for me, a rigid outline is a bit daunting. And I respect the Bible. I respect religious people, and like I totally get it 100%. And this would probably sound very confused to a religious person. In 10 years, I don't know exactly where I'll be. And that to me is the adventure of life. But I'll tell you what, I used to sort of look down on religion in a way. I'm like, how does someone believe a book that's newer than some redwood trees in California? Because really, it is. There are redwood trees older than Christ. And then I did, my first videos I ever did were in Ukraine in the countryside, and I lived with a family who are refugees basically from a big conflict in 2014. Russian missile hits their apartment building. They moved to the countryside, had nothing. Actually living in a similar way. You're definitely producing more good crops. They were in a drier climate, but I saw how religion kept their family together and how it was a guide. He used to be a street fighter. He was a drunk, really going down the wrong. He was like a bad apple in that sense.
Wow.
And then religion is the guide, and he doesn't do drugs, and he doesn't fight, and he's very much about family. And then that opened my eyes to like, okay, that's a beautiful thing. These people without religion would be living much worse of a life than with it. I think that's the beauty. We can hang out today. We don't have to believe in exactly the same thing, and we can have an awesome time.
God definitely did create people with the power to choose.
Yeah. Titus, we're going to do some creekside dining.
Yeah, it's quite a bit cooler here than it is on the porch.
Titus, you got a call.
They can leave a message.
So you have like an old school messaging machine. You ever had a cell phone?
Never did.
You're untraceable, untrackable, Titus. You're such a bad consumer. You're really, you're terrible for any marketing campaign. If they can break through to Titus, then they know they have a hit.
Somebody called me on my landline phone,
Yeah.
and they were trying to sell me a security system. And I told them, I've got a security system that works better than the one that you're selling, and it's free. Would you like to learn about it? My Bible tells me that the angels surround his people. So I have angels that are a security system here. She's like, oh, okay. And then she hung up.
She hung up on you?
I had a...
This is very tasty, by the way.
Thank
Titus.
you. Thank you.
Fantastic.
It's simple.
It's simple but flavorful. See, the beauty of when you grow vegetables like this, and I'm so disconnected from it, everything tastes much more flavorful and vibrant and better texture, and you can feel your food instead of like, I got some arugula last night from the grocery store just because I was craving some greens. I ate it and it was just like this dead green. You could tell there were no nutrients in it. It was grown indoors. You know, not the same, obviously.
Could have been hydroponically grown.
It was, yeah. In a way, your life, you're doing everything you can. I know it's through God's will, but you're doing everything very independently. Like, you are extremely self-sufficient. Like, if the power grid goes out, or supply chains get messed with, or whatever happens, some, 10x level pandemic of what we just had, you are like, you're fine out here for a while. So you're very much on your own, but because you believe in God, a lot of the stresses of what potentially could happen aren't necessarily yours. You don't take those on to yourself. I'm just trying to think through your thought process.
Right.
And therefore, that gives you more of a stress-free life.
Definitely. Yeah.
Fair to say?
Definitely. Fresh from the garden.
This tree is like made for relaxing on, huh?
Yeah, it is.
It like contours your back,
yeah, it's
everything.
it's like a perfect made little seat.
Oh yeah, that's like childhood. Wow. Check that out.
I planted these strawberries this spring. A friend of mine has a big strawberry patch, and she gave me some plants. She was thinning them out. Jesus really blessed them because, like, consistently I've been getting like a lot more strawberries than what I expected for the first year, and they've been just super sweet, just really good.
Let me ask you this. What do you think people say, let's just call it the outside, not living around here, not understand about your lifestyle or your way of looking at things?
Maybe some people would be like, why would somebody want to work that hard?
Okay.
Or, I mean, maybe that's what I don't know. I mean, maybe there's a lot of different perspectives. Or maybe somebody from the outside looking in would be like, wow, so peaceful. I wish I could live like that. I mean, it would take some time to learn the skills, eat them up, brother. And it gives you the freedom and the flexibility to, like, if your neighbor's house burns down, that you got the freedom to go and just spend a few days help them rebuild.